Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. We've been upgraded now to a marginal risk for severe weather, and there is a slight risk a little bit up to our north for this evening. And the high-res data is suggesting some storms really get going this evening, so I want to take a look, give you at least the heads up of what's going on. First off, you can see the marginal risk really covers almost all of Southern Indiana. Just kind of excludes a very little teeny tiny tip here around the Ohio River, just this little sliver here. But for the most part, the strongest severe weather, if we get anything, is going to be up here in the yellow, which is your slight risk category. Here's the way it looks on the Storm Prediction Center, and if we go down to their wording, you can see the reason why they did it. Basically, we've got an MCV coming our way this evening. That's a mesoscale convective vortex, and I'll show it to you on radar here in a second, but basically that is going to talks about some outflow boundaries. All that mess, you don't have to understand all the technical details, but all that mess is coming our way tonight. And as that moves northeast, basically it's going to serve, as they say, as a weak warm front and some moderate buoyancy. It's moderate lift to its south there. So what they're saying here is that they have upgraded to a tornado-driven slight risk where the potential appears greatest, while expanding low tornado probabilities across the broader region. So all that means is basically they have expanded the slight risk area for the possibility that there could be some tornadoes out of this. And so if we take a look at this, here is their tornado probabilities. Where the slight risk is, there is the greatest tornado probability that have expanded. A little bit to the south of that as well. You can see it just barely kind of cuts into our area. The closer you get to the Ohio River here, the closer you don't have much of anything out of it. Here's the wind probabilities, very minor, which is why we have the marginal risk hail probabilities completely out of there. Let me show you what this is all about real quick. Why would they do this? Here's what we've got going on to our west. Future radar, some storms just starting to pop here at about between 3 and 4 here on future radar out towards St. Louis. As we get going towards this evening, watch these storms just really burst out here, and notice that they are not organized into a line. You've got little individual cells. That's indicative of a supercellular mode. That's what is, I think, really getting the Storm Prediction Center's attention, that there could be at least a minor tornado threat out of this tonight. Is whenever you see these little cells like this as they move in, you can see as they move into the area, you do have a couple of them dotting the area here, and they'll move through. By the way, this is future radar for about 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Here you go, and it moves through the area. And so it would be about 7 to 9 or 10 tonight would be the biggest threat. 6 to 9 or so Central Time from the way the high-res data is looking at this tonight. Here's the reason why for the threat. You see that you do have some decent instability with this as well, but notice the wind speeds on here. The red is surface wind speeds, and then you go up to your 500 millibar wind speeds here in the black barb, and what you got going here is small winds down to the surface, and you got some decently cranking winds up here at 500 millibars. So you got a change in wind speed, decent change in wind speed as you go up into the atmosphere. You've also got a change in wind direction from almost due south to almost due west here as you head up. So you've got a change in wind speed and a change in wind direction that promotes the twisting in the atmosphere. That's why the threat is going to be there for the tornadoes tonight, especially as these cells start off as individual cells rather than having organized into a cluster of anything. Best chance for this is going to be a little bit to our north, and that's going to be where the better wind energy is. As we take a look at our low-level jet, you can see here from about Terre Haute to Indianapolis and on north, that's where you've got a pretty decent little low-level jet tonight. And down at the further south you go into Indiana, well, it's still there, but we're only talking 25 knots or so for a low-level jet, and that's kind of subpar. The better wind energy is up here. That's, of course, then also where the Storm Prediction Center has placed that slight risk. Now, there are some storms already popping on radar. Anything that would happen here is already out here towards St. Louis. These are generally going to move in a direction like this, but of course, as I showed you on future radar, all of this in here just really lights up with storms tonight and then sort of rolls off this way in here tonight. So we'll have to monitor that. Right now there's not a whole lot going on out there. We will see whether future radar really holds out and radar starts to fill up like it is or not. There's always a question whether that's going to be, but this is a few runs consistently now that the HER model, our highest res model here, has indeed showed this threat. The RPM is starting to show this threat as well, so it's there. We'll just have to see what develops tonight. So just keep an eye to the sky tonight. There could be some strong storms as you're heading out this evening I'll provide you updates as best I can on this tonight, folks, and of course, have a way to be able to get those storm warnings when the time comes. All right, that is it for this real quick severe weather update, folks. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Keep it tuned here to Southern Indiana Weather on Facebook and on Twitter at SouthernINWX for updates as we head into the evening.